This is a Leap Motion. You may wonder what this device is. I certainly do as well. I'm going to show you what you can do with a Leap Motion, and I'm going to show you what you can't do with a Leap Motion. And the answer is actually you can't yet do very much with a Leap Motion. It's a very clever idea. Basically, the Leap Motion is this little box here. It connects to your computer via a USB cable, and it contains cameras and infrared sensors to detect where your hands are above the device. Using some very clever software, it can then work out where all 10 of your fingers and thumbs are in order to interact with the computer. However, its big problem is that you can't interact with all of your desktop apps on your computer. You can only interact with its own apps. So I'll show you how it all works. It's a very clever idea. It just needs a bit more integration into Windows and to behave like your mouse, which is a much more useful device in my opinion. Okay, it's particularly important that your Leap Motion can see your hands. Obviously that's the method by which it works, so it's best to put it up on top of the computer so it's got a clear view of your hands. And it needs to be plugged into an available USB 2 port. It has a USB 3 connector on the end of it, but it actually only uses USB 2. So if we connect that up, the computer recognises it as being there. The light comes on the front. I don't know if you can see that there. There's a little green power light on the front of that. And the cameras, etc. come on the device itself. It tells me there's a smudge on it. So I don't know if you can see a smudge on that. Maybe there is a smudge on it. It says there's a smudge on it. It's quite sensitive to any dirt or dust, so it needs cleaning very regularly, this thing. Now I wouldn't recommend doing this yourself, but I found that this anti-static foam cleaner with isopropyl alcohol is absolutely brilliant at cleaning electronic devices, and I've never had any problems with it personally, although there's always the chance that some of the liquid from the foam could get into your device and ruin it. So I use it, and I always have for many years, but I can't recommend you use it in case you have problems. But there we go, that is now absolutely spotlessly clean. And this is Airspace Home. Airspace Home is where you can get all of the apps for your Leap Motion, and you can use it with those apps. It's not integrated into Windows, so you can't use Windows with it straight off. There are a number of apps available, so you can go to the Airspace store like this and download apps, but they are quite expensive. So mostly the apps available for this are games or demonstrations that show you how it works. Cut the Rope is free, there we go. Let's have Cut the Rope. Is that available for Windows? Yes it is. And we'll download Cut the Rope. So if you're a gaming fan, it's quite a clever idea. Already downloaded, wonderful. So we can now go back, and there's Cut the Rope. Play now. Oh, it's taking its time, it's not downloaded yet. It's slowly progressing across the screen. I'll show you a demonstration that this has, which is very nice, but it doesn't actually stand for very useful. So here we have the Leap Motion controller, and it can see my hand over it. Can you see the screen okay there? Yes, you can. So you can see it's picking up my hand quite accurately, and if I swirl it around, it makes the screen swirl, and it's quite sensitive. It can see my hand quite clearly. It gives you an idea of the field of operation of this device. Very clever. Okay, well that's nice. Let's go on to something else. So here's another one. Explore the space, it says. Wonderful. It's losing my hand out here, picking it up in the middle and losing it from here, roughly. Great, well you can't really do very much with that. That's very nice and quite pretty. So what's next? What else can you do with it? Well, this is quite a clever demonstration. I like this. It can see all of your fingers, and it can visualize independent movement in all of your fingers and your hands, and it can actually do that for two hands. Here are two hands. It's not picking up all of my digits all of the time, but it's certainly a very interesting concept. You know, you could imagine typing on the screen, if there were an app for that, without actually touching any keys. If it were a little bit more accurate, that is. Very clever though. I like this a lot. This is actually the nicest thing I've seen Leap Motion do. And it can even tell whether your hands are the right way up or not, which is very, very clever. So let's move on to the next thing. To draw, move your finger forward. Here we go. And to stop, pull your finger back. Okay, it's not seeing me. I think that might be the bright room. Very nice. But not really accurate enough to use seriously. I mean, a mouse or a digitising tablet is far more accurate at doing this sort of thing and far less expensive as well. Okay, we'll move on to the next thing. This is basically a demo of all of this that this device is capable of. And there we go, we've finished. So that was the demo. Cut the Rope still hasn't downloaded, and I don't have a particularly slow internet connection. I did have a go at Google Earth and it gave me a headache. I ended up spinning the globe round and round at high speed and couldn't get to grips with this particular method at all. So, you see how it's too sensitive? What am I supposed to be doing? Stop. Stop. I'd like to zoom in on, well, the Panama Isthmus would be nice, but I don't think I can get anywhere near it. Stop. No. Come back. You see, it's very, very difficult to... I know I don't know what I'm doing, but it would be nice if I could... Oh, okay, there's a bit more. We're in. And we're out again. And, Stop, please. You're giving me a headache. Okay, so we won't look at the... We'll look at the Suez Canal instead, shall we? It would have been nice to have a look at the Panama Canal, but never mind. And now we're up on the poles. Okay, I'm going to give that a miss because it's doing my head in already. So we'll close that, and it really didn't work very well at all. Okay, I guess you have to have a lighter touch than that. There are also interacting with games as another method of using this, and that's quite good fun. This game is great fun, but it actually only has 2 levels before you have to buy it. So it will load eventually, I hope. I suppose this music's probably copyrighted, so I'm going to pull the volume right down. So, resume. It's a bit like getting used to using a Wii controller, only the Wii controller was a lot easier to get used to using. That's gone behind there, which is why you can't see it at the moment. And here it comes again, and I missed. Now this is quite accurate. This game seems to be pretty good actually. It has a very good level of response, better than some of the demo apps, which is a bit of a shame for the demo apps because they're supposed to be showing this thing off to do what it can at its best. So I'm quite impressed with this game. It actually seems to interact quite well, and you can angle your paddle here to make the ball go where you want it to. Let's go across to the other side, hopefully. Yes. Lovely. Wonderful, level cleared in not a very good time. So this is a great game, it's good fun, but unfortunately it only has 2 levels and you have to buy it. So let's see how much this game costs. It costs $4. Okay, it's quite expensive as far as app games go. There are other games like Drop Chord, which is a music game. Verticus. Didn't want that, did we? So there are quite a few games available, and they are generally about $3 or $4 each, or £2 or £3. Okay, very nice, but you've got to use your computer with it, you've got to have it set up. It's not something you can carry around with you, and I'm sure that that sort of game is quite easily available in mobile phones and much easier to control. So it's a very good idea, but it is lacking decidedly in apps and integration into the general desktop environment. I mean, if I could flip pages on the web like this, that would be great. Let's go back to the Airspace store and see if there are any internet apps. There's quite a few more than when this first launched, I have to say, but the majority of them are quite basic and they don't give you any integration into the general purpose use of your computer. To be honest, going like this to turn the page is not really much less effort than, you know, clicking the cursor key or using the mouse to click on the edge. We've got a touchpad here, it's a multi-touch pad, it's, you know, it's very useful, it integrates very well with every single function on the computer and all of the software. So basically it gives you a way of interacting with virtual worlds. It's very nice. Grab the seed. Okay, I got the seed. Did I? Or did I miss it? Is it going to take off? What's going to happen? Got it. Got it. No, I missed. Come on. I think I got it that time. It's exploded. And what do we do now? Well, that's very, very nice, but it doesn't actually really do anything for my computer. Can I make the water move? Yes, I can. Make it ripple. It's lovely. It's using a lot of graphics power. And it's not really doing very much. So fine if you're bored, but not if you're wanting to do any productive work with your computer. Like video editing or reading books or web browsing or anything like that. It's a fascinating concept that isn't really working fully yet. So it's actually quicker to tap the screen on your Android device. Quickly slide your finger in the air to cut the row. Okay. I'm aware of the way this game works. I didn't ask for replay. I asked for next, but never mind. So that's how you play, with your finger across the rope. It sort of works quite well, but if you have a touch screen, it's much better. There we go. So this is pretty much what you can do with Elite Motion Controller. It's not much yet. There are more apps than there were when it launched, but not many. £50, $79 is a lot of money to spend on this little device that can't really do very much for your computer. If it were more integrated with the operating system, it would be very handy, but until they manage to get it working properly, you're definitely far off better spending your money on a Bluetooth mouse if you want to interact with your computer, or a graphics tablet to use with your drawing packages. This thing, it's got great potential, but it is not usable as any kind of pointing device for accuracy just yet.